Welcome in everybody to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host Michael Darcy.
And I'm Max Letzig.
And today we're going to break down the Sunday night football game between the Indianapolis Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs Kingdom, the Chiefs lose a heartbreaking Sunday night football game to the Indianapolis Colts by a final score of 19-13. What's your takeaway?
You know, the only thing I have to say is just why the Colts. I was going into this game expecting big points up on the board. I mean, the Colts are in their second and third string defense.
A lot of injuries.
Yeah, a lot of injuries. They were putting in running backs for their corners. It was horrible.
So, I mean, I expected Patrick Mahomes to carve up that secondary that was depleted, but the offensive line just could not protect Mahomes to save his life. I mean, he was basically getting hit on every play, and for a young quarterback with his arm talent to go through that, it's not fair. I mean, he needs to have protection so he can launch it down the field. And there's just a lot of stuff that went wrong in this game. I mean, the middle linebackers could not stop the run to save their life. I mean, it was very bad. Marlon Mack was pretty much just running all over them.
Yeah, he was not doing good.
So when Mack was running all over them, that took up a lot of time off the clock. And I thought this game was over in the fourth quarter because the Chiefs couldn't get the ball back. And when they got the ball back, they couldn't do anything. I mean, Patrick Mahomes would go 3 and out because, again, he had no protection. So at the end of the day, I chalk it up to the middle linebackers not being able to stop any run game and the offensive line being terrible. I've seen some stuff that people are blaming Andy Reid for not running the ball more. But when the Chiefs did run the ball, I mean, they had virtually no running game. Did you see any running game from that team?
No, not at all. And that's the thing, is because we've come such a pass-centric team that we need to focus more on our run, but even if it's bad, we still need to throw it in there at times because it just throws off their defense or other people's defenses. They're always planning on us throwing the ball, which we do, and that's why they can cover us good.
And the Colts would just bring a lot of rushing, and we couldn't stop that. I think the Chiefs' defense had a lot more success when they tried to rush Jacoby Brissett. But it didn't work because the Colts offensive line is very good. I mean, Frank Clark basically got manhandled the whole night. And, I mean, the defensive line could not get to Jacoby Brissett. And I don't think that was a good sign because we have not seen a great defensive line this year. Frank Clark's been very disappointing. And now Chris Jones out with that groin injury. So right now this defensive line is very depleted.
Yeah, we need to step up our defense in a lot of ways. And the main thing I saw was that the two safeties,
Honey Badger and
with Honey Badger in the back and Thornhill. I saw that so much that they started to catch on to it, not only with the run game but with their passing game. They knew exactly what we were going to do because that was our best play.
Well, the Chiefs don't have a bad pass coverage. They have good players that can make plays. I mean, we saw it last night. Tyrann Mathieu had a interception that really changed the momentum, but they weren't able to carry it over because the Chiefs just turned it over.
Yeah,
so
3 and out right after that.
And McCoy fumbled it. So there was just a lot of things that really resulted in this loss because if it was just the defense's fault, I don't think the Chiefs lose this game. But when you add it all up and Patrick Mahomes just not getting his time to throw, I mean, it's easy to see why we lost. And Justin Houston came back to Kansas City and just absolutely torched us. I mean, he had a few sacks. He was able to stop the Chiefs on a 4th and 1, which they should have converted. So, I mean, it's just not great. And I think this really shows the Chiefs' weaknesses. We all know that they have a lot of issues stopping the run. And Marlon Mack just said, hey, give me the ball and I'm going to rush you for 150 yards.
Well, and we've been seeing that for the past couple of games as we can't stop
the run.
Carry
on Johnson. Or
exactly.
It's been happening the last few weeks, but the Chiefs have been winning games, so it's easier to ignore that. But when something goes wrong, I mean, you got to rely on your defense. And I don't think the secondary did terrible except for Bashaud Breeland freaking racking up penalties like...
I know. What's up with him? I mean...
He had 3 or 4 penalties in the first half, costing the Chiefs over 60 yards.
I'm thinking he set a record or something because that was just, it's too many. It's unforgivable.
That was very bad. And they tried bringing Mo Claiborne in. I didn't see any impact from him. So the secondary, besides Tyrann Mathieu and Juan Thornhill and a few other guys, I mean, Travarius Ward didn't look bad. Kendall Fuller didn't look bad either. But they need to go get a cornerback that can make that step and guard the other team's best receiver. And that didn't happen. So, I mean, I can see why the Chiefs lost this game. I'm just upset with how they lost it. I would rather seen the defense choke. I mean, they kind of did choke, but for the Chiefs offense to underperform, it's something we're not used to. I mean, when was the last time the Chiefs scored under 25 points?
It was way back, like the Smith era.
Well, to be exact, the Chiefs broke their 25-plus point streak They did it for 25 games. So that just shows you how dominant this Chiefs offense has been. So, I mean, it's a sad loss because I did not expect it to the Colts, like you said.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have expected it to come somewhere else, but to get embarrassed on Sunday Night Football by the Colts is kind of disappointing. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. With that second and third string defense, like, why couldn't we put up more points? You know, Patrick Mahomes had 200 some odd yards passing when he's been averaging 300 to 400, sometimes even 500 yards. I mean, it was horrible.
Again, that just all chalks up to the offensive line not doing their job. I mean, the offensive line had some injuries, so the starters weren't exactly in, but they need to rally together to keep this guy safe. I mean, Mahomes got hit a few times in that ankle that he injured in week 1, and that's not good.
He was doing a lot of limping. I was getting scared.
Yeah, when he gets up limping, my breath just drops because, I mean, you cannot have that happen. Mahomes is basically our savior. We need him on the field.
Yeah.
And to have him getting pummeled every play is unacceptable. So they need to figure that out and get him some protection. But what is your final thought?
You know, we were just underperforming on both sides the entire night. Our receivers were unreliable and all over the place. There was way too many penalties to forgive. Kelsey was losing his mojo.
Yeah, he's over on the sideline pushing Bieniemy.
I know.
You don't push Bieniemy. He's the offensive coordinator.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he will mess you up. But that was unacceptable. You can't see that from your receiver. And to be quite honest, he doesn't look like he's fully healthy. I think the Chiefs are purposely keeping him off the field because he's still dealing with that ankle injury. So it's not a great sign to see him arguing with coaches because he was the fault in that matter. So that's not great. He's going to get punished somehow, either fined or suspended for a day or two. But
But you saw that hug afterwards, though, so they made out. They're bros now.
I don't think that really means anything. I think Kelsey still kind of knows he's in the doghouse.
Yeah.
So it's really important that the Chiefs go about this the right way because you don't have him mad, but he needs to get disciplined in some way. So I think there's a lot of issues with this Chiefs team right now. Going forward, they need to fix up that run. They cannot let opposing running backs just run all over them. They got to find some way to stop them. I think that you got to continue bringing pressure. I like it when they just do all-man rush. Having Tyrann Mathieu running from the secondary and getting after the quarterback is something that is very awesome to see, and it's hard to stop because I think that right now Frank Clark's not doing his job, and with Chris Jones out, they need to bring pressure somehow. So if they can continue to bring pressure, stop that run, and this offense has to get back on track. The receivers have to be more reliable. Patrick Mahomes has to have some sort of protection, and if that can happen, we'll be fine. So even though the Chiefs lost this game on Sunday Night Football to the Colts by a final score of 19-13, I'm still looking forward to this Week 6 matchup at Arrowhead Stadium against the Houston Texans. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Help me out. Go click the link in my description and go support me on my Patreon if you really like these videos. I would more than appreciate that. Thank you to Max Letzing for joining me today. Check out my social medias. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the KC Sports Report. Signing off is Michael Darcy.